This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/Red5.
Welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, coming to you every week from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful ice of the Galactic Empire. Join your hosts, John-Mark Tolley, Garrett K. Jones, and Brian Karasik, as they discuss the various facets of the saga's lore, characters, review the films, and discuss every tidbit of news coming out of Lucasfilm. And remember, this isn't just my Star Wars, this isn't just your Star Wars, this is our Star Wars. It is indeed our Star Wars. Welcome once again to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. My name is John-Mark Tolley, and I'm joined as only by my two wonderful co-hosts, Brian Karasik and Garrett K. Jones. And we are joined once again by Brian Miller. It is B squared. Brian, I don't know if you two should do like a fusion dance. I don't know what that would happen if the two Brians were to combine forces and become one super. You need to go the other way, Brian.
Oh, on my screen, this is working.
Okay.
I tried. I pulled something, I think.
Yeah.
Warm oven ice Death Star.
What?
It's the Wonder Twins. Warm oven ice Death Star.
Nice Death Star. I know. I don't want to say the actual joke because it would get us demonetized. But I just thought of the Family Guy skit that had the Wonder Twins. If you know, you know.
Oh yeah.
I have a strong sensation that McFarlane and I grew up together.
Fellas, how are you today? How are you guys today?
Many of the same jokes.
I'm good.
Doing
Good.
Yes, I bought my daughter her first grown-up bicycle yesterday. She's 8 years old, and she is now riding a 24-inch bike with gears and handbrakes. And today, on day 2, she looked back over her shoulder as I was holding her, and she said, "How am I doing?" And I said, "You're doing great." And she's like, "You're not holding me." No, you hadn't been holding you for about 30 feet.
Yeah.
She's just rolling.
I've been working on with my daughter to get her trained, because as I told her, once you learn how to ride a bike without training wheels and you're off of that, the world is your oyster. Like, you can just go wherever you want and have fun.
Well, we just moved to a vibrant community with lots of kids, and the house that we found is literally on the main playground of the neighborhood. So it's a great situation. But there is a part of that vibrant community is there's a lot of kids riding these electric scooters around.
Yeah, because they don't know how to ride bikes.
Right, and I don't find that acceptable in any way. I think they go too fast. I think that you are losing out on a vital skill, as you said, John Mark. So we told her, we will consider a scooter, but first you must master an actual scooter.
Yes.
And you must learn to ride a bike. And she resisted that. And I was like, "Honey, let me explain this to you. Mommy and Daddy want to buy you a $600 present. And we're going to go to the bike shop, and they're going to tell you how great you are and measure you and try you out on a bike. Do you like this bike? Do you like that bike? And get all the bells and whistles." And we customized it. And she was like, "Oh, this is like getting a princess dress." Yes. And so she had a great time, and the bike shop was awesome. Took her to a local bike shop full of bike hippies, and it was great. And ultimately, the goal is once she's mastered the bike, then she can go both ways. We'll talk about an electric scooter when she's 9, and we can begin training on the unicycle. Brian, Dad is a unicyclist, and it's important that our family maintain the tradition.
Yes. I had an interesting weekend. Brian Miller, other Brian. That's what I'll call you. I'll call you other Brian.
Yeah.
Last names. That seems denigrating.
Miller. Yeah.
Miller and
being from a small town, you probably can understand this. Our daughter, her class has been making a Rube Goldberg machine, and it was like a small class project, a group of them. And the other day, they were presenting and having judging was a Saturday, and the entire bear in mind there were 6 groups of kids that did this. 6 groups of probably about 5 or 6 kids in each group. The entire town showed up to watch these kids do their Rube Goldberg machines, and I love my daughter, but that was the most boring because as they're presenting, nobody in the audience, like the entire one side of the entire gym was completely packed full, and nobody was making a sound. And you can't, bear in mind, the kids do not have microphones, so you can't hear them giving their presentation. You're just sitting there as they're watching in complete silence, waiting for each group to get down. And then random applause just breaks out for, reasons why. Welcome to living in a small town.
Love it. I love it. I know all about small town living. My daughter's graduating class is going to be 11 people.
Oh, see, mine wasn't that. Of course, I went to high school in a big city, but it was a private school. But I completely understand that small. Yeah. Our town's a little bit bigger than that. But yeah. Anyway,
we're not talking about bicycles or Rube Goldberg machines, especially not the kind that don't feed your dog Einstein.
Nice.
Okay, I'm glad someone got my reference. Yeah. Today we are talking about.
They never explain why a senior in high school's best friend is a disgraced nuclear physicist. Never comes up. When my daughter is 18, she begins hanging out with a man in his mid-60s who is, for no explained reason, again, a disgraced nuclear physicist, I'm going to have follow-up questions. Sorry, go on. You brought it up?
Yeah, I did. That's my fault. But irrelevant tangents aside, we are talking about the Bane of the Jedi, specifically Darth Bane.
Darth Bane, yes. I get the joke.
Can you cue up the album cover I made, or shall I?
You should do it. Go for it.
I take pleasure, folks, in creating imaginary musical careers for our favorite characters. And we have here Bane's only solo album. He got pretty busy after he first released it. Let me pull it up here. There we are.
His only solo album?
I may come back and do some band work.
Yeah. Well, didn't he become a duo after that?
Him and Xana. It was a tumultuous pairing.
Well, they definitely wouldn't be able to do a third album. That would just be too much.
Yeah.
So this is what I imagine for Bane's debut album.
Nice. Definitely feels very, very disturbed.
Yes.
And I am nothing if not a fan of the pun. So
yes,
because of course, as we know, Bane began his career as a miner his name was Dessel, right? Des.
Yep.
And he was mining.
Miners.
Yeah, terrible joke to make in this day and age, but we're going to power through it.
Sorry, I was watching Galaxy Quest the other week. It's been stuck in my brain.
Yes.
Well, Miller, did I hear that this is your favorite series of books in the saga? I'd like to hear your take on this.
This is my absolute all-time, and so first off, I read every Star Wars book. I've got every single book Disney's released in canon, every comic book, correct. Everything. And so, and I've only read a handful of Legend stuff, but this is one of the trilogies that I will die on this hill. This is the greatest trilogy, not single book, but greatest trilogy of Star Wars books ever written.
Yeah.
There are other standalone novels that are.
It is a standard setter.
My favorite trilogy, yes.
Yeah.
The plot points that these books cover that are casually referenced in many other works and just in casual conversation is the thought bomb.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
the weapon with which Bane killed all the Sith,
Everybody and the Jedi.
and a good number of Jedi as well.
yeah.
The relationship between Bane and Xana was the establishment of the Rule of Two,
Mm-hmm.
because Bane spent his formative years in the Sith Academy, and most of that first book, watching Sith betray each other and backbite each other and get nowhere. And this is something that I, as a student of this form, have seen happen again and again, not only in fiction and films and cartoons and every media we consume. It's hard to have an evil protagonist because evil is, at heart, not somebody that authors want to identify with. And so we get people like Black Adam. Oh, he's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Because evil, and because of that, they have to portray evil as stupid. And this is why we get, it used to circulate around a lot, I don't know if you've seen it lately, but the guide to being a supervillain is like I said, for example, don't have all of your henchmen have full face masks, because there's nothing easier to infiltrate than a building full of fully masked people. Like, it's the easiest. Although, and come to it, let's skip forward a bit to the sequel trilogy when Finn infiltrates the flagship, the Supremacy, what's he wearing? Nothing on his face.
Yeah.
He is, by all accounts, to the First Order, this guy is a wanted terrorist. He stole a huge classified military asset and is now working with the bad guys. He's got to be known. And absolutely the only person who recognizes him is BB-9. Why is BB-9 not running the show?
That would be like Snowden just walking into the Pentagon and just like walking around and nobody even recognized him.
And BB-8, how is BB-8 disguised, Brian?
As a trash
can.
Upside down trash can.
Yeah.
And only BB-9 is like, wah, wah, wah. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 Well, you get to a good
even the stormtrooper that BB-8 bumped into and he tripped over and he turned around and looked back at him, just kept walking. Like,
I think some of that speaks to the level of disinterest and self-involvement of the Force Order, but a lot of it also speaks to the disinterest and self-involvement of the writer of that film. So I think
or just how hard it is.
To be fair, the writer of that film was one Rian Johnson. So,
or you just can't see out of the stormtrooper helmets. They really are.
Coming back to Drew Karpyshyn, have you seen that diagram of like where the eyes fall?
Yeah.
So we got the Rule of Two formed. We do have. There's an interesting concept. I think this is the book that first introduces the concept of Sith actually drawing power from the fear of their foe.
Yeah.
Bane is having a hard time, and he builds up his power by like menacing these soon-to-be victims. And powers and stuff like that. It's a great. Well, the way that he chooses Xana as his apprentice is really nice. He's just like, well, come with me if you're coming.
One thing I really liked about the first book, I just got done reading the first book, was and you kind of touched on this too, other first Brian. I still got to figure out how we're gonna.
First Brian
is that. The idea of evil is, while you understand why Bane became the way he was and why I'd never at any point, except for maybe at the very beginning, do I ever feel any sympathy for Bane. Like, he is just a evil person, and he makes no bones about, like, he was like almost the epitome of the dark side, in the fact that, like, there's a scene where he's killing one of the Sith, and the Sith is asking, just let me draw my lightsaber so I can die with honor, and he's like, honor's for the living, and then just crushes him. Like, he doesn't care about honor, he doesn't care about respect. It's just power. And it doesn't matter how you get it, or shortcuts, or what you have to do it. The ends justify the means.
To Palpatine, the culmination of Bane's plan, where Palpatine a number of times invites someone to kill him because, like, I don't care if I die because the dark side will triumph.
Yeah. Well, and not just that, but with Bane, it was like he didn't care. Like at that point, it looked like the Sith had become. They even talked about how the Sith and the Jedi had become so close to each other that they were. It was hard to tell where one ended and the other started.
Brian, I always enjoy hearing people complain that the Palpatine Windu fight would have, well, it wasn't a fair fight. Yeah. Why would it be? Like, I'm sorry, Sith don't say like, okay, so we're going to meet at 3:00, right? I said, we'll draw it and we'll do a little salute and then we'll fight. Okay. No, there's no Expelliarmus in the dark side. I don't want to spoil the story for Mark too much, but and what happens in those 3 books is sort of blended together because I have never read just one. You can't just read one. You got to read all 3 of them.
They are great back to back to back.
They really are.
Yeah.
I even like the culture that we learn about the Jedi Order. Like, who's that? Like the fancy pants general who's like always combing his hair and
very flamboyant.
Farfalla?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Leader of the Army of Light. Yeah.
Is his name Farfalla? Because I get
Farfalla. Yes, Farfalla.
Yes.
So General.
Wait,
Pasta.
isn't that a type of pasta?
Yes, it is. That's why I say. That brings me to Brian. These guys have heard this joke before, so I'm going to share it with you, and they're going to pretend that they haven't heard it before.
Oh.
But I don't know if this will land with you, but I made a meme of why is how does Mara Jade have such nice hair? And
What?
it's not the Force. She's a master of Karastazi.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. No, that requires an early '90s Star Wars fandom and an understanding of high-end character
deep
products.
cut. That's a deep cut. That was
Yes.
good.
Well, praise from Caesar there because you got it.
That was
And,
good. That's a
I
deep
know
cut.
a little bit about you. I'm pleased that it landed. At any rate, I do think it's interesting that Bane also introduces the Orbalisk concept. Or do we see Orbalisks in the first book, Mark?
No.
Second book.
Okay. This picture of Bane is the Clone Wars representation of Bane, where he is a samurai instead of the extended universe, where he at this point in his career would be a crab-encrusted walking pile of seafood.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
So I think it's interesting that Bane established the rule of 2 in book 1, and by the midpoint of book 2, I believe it is, he has already violated it. He's already talking to the Itachi Darth Cognos, and meanwhile Xana is doing the same. And it's an interesting take on it. And we've talked about the rule of 2 before. The expectation that you will train your apprentice as best you can, with the understanding that if you train them well enough, they're going to kill you. It's hard to. How much do you teach? And I always make the joke like, well, you could also teach them a bunch of extra stuff too. Like I can see Bane like, no, we all wear the hat. Like you got to. Like I wore the hat for 2 years. Sure, yeah. And like, who are you going to ask? He's the only source.
Yeah.
I'll put on the hat. He's like, yeah, that's good. No, you're very simple. She did it. She did it. It's an interesting concept too. It's also one of the first appearances of a dark Jedi called as such. We meet Set Hearth, who is basically just kind of a scumbag. He just left the Jedi Order so he could gamble and use the Force to get rich and get women. Which I think, if I'm honest, is this out of the Book of Sith? Where's this page coming from?
This is from Wikipedia.
Okay.
And the reason why I particularly highlight this one is because while it does use the Clone Wars design of Darth Bane, what I like about it is they veered the design away from the bald guy wearing the hood, which looks very, very similar to what we see with Palpatine throughout most of the franchise. And they gave him this skull-like samurai design, which is ancient but indicative of what Anakin becomes as Vader. Because when we see Bane in the Clone Wars, it's a holocron projection, and it's him versus Yoda.
Oh, I thought it was him versus 4 turtles. I'm not the only one that sees it, right?
That's funny.
Yeah. No.
No, you're not the only one who sees it.
I never saw that until you said that, and now I can never.
It's not quite as spiky, but it's definitely
that shredder. Yeah, that's
the face is there. Brian, I'm 52 and I've spent most of my life watching television. So every time I see little crossovers like that, I'll have to tell you the crossover between Clone Wars and Moulin Rouge. We'll come back to that and off the show.
Bless you, Captain Adjacency.
All he needs to do now is fight like 4 Jedi, one with like a blue lightsaber, one with a green, one with an orange, one with a purple. Yeah, like that would be.
I think we can.
And then a Wookiee.
ChatGPT generated it.
Yes.
Yes. A Wookiee training him. Yeah.
A Wookiee training and a random guy with like a hockey mask for no reason.
Casey, and then you got like Mara Jade wearing a yellow jumpsuit in the background. Like that would work perfectly. That'd be beautiful.
Thank you for that. Yes, that's like
Miller. That image is going to go well with me tonight.
I know.
On board, fully on board.
I'm very single, so
not just single.
Not tonight.
Mara Jade.
Well, I mean, I do have a pet cat. He keeps trying to kill me. Anyway, so yeah, I particularly like. I mean, I kind of wish that the Clone Wars had actually gone with the design that we knew from Legends. But seeing this version of him, this ultimate kind of warlord version, I really liked it because it does give us some foreshadowing as to the kind of figure that Anakin would become and the kind of vision that Yoda receives during that encounter with the holocron. However, one of the things I find very interesting about this is if you look at his lightsaber, it has this design that like it actually has like an actual blade in the middle of the hilt, and it almost looks like kind of a weird hatchet type of thing with a blade similar to in design to the Darksaber.
Mm-hmm.
And like I haven't read the books, I haven't read the trilogy, so I don't know if his lightsaber is described like this or if it's described at all.
His lightsaber is almost described like Dooku's.
It's curved like a hook on it.
It is curved.
And the book, and there's actually scenes where he's fighting, and it specifically talks about the curve of his hilt. He's using it to help turn his lightsaber a certain way to pull off certain moves in certain forms. So, it's pretty cool.
So it doesn't look like your standard
no
lightsaber. I'm actually trying to find an image of Bane that would work with that, but I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, but yeah, I found it like here, like just like I said, having just read the first book, like the beginning part of his life was just very, very. I thought was really interesting. He was born on was it Kurtosis? Was that the planet he was?
The metal he was mining.
Kurtosis. Yeah, he was a Kurtosis miner.
Kurtosis.
And when you first see him, he's getting in a fight with another miner, and you find out that his dad had died. His dad had abused him, beat him mercilessly, and had died. And then everyone blames him for the death of his father. And so he becomes sort of the initially the punching bag, but then working the mines all your life, he becomes. Oh yes, I get it.
I love that.
But he bites the finger off of another miner during a fight, and you get the first kind of glimpses of his force ability. It talks about how he just gets these images every once in a while that pop up where he can tell when something's going to happen before it happens. He can't control it, and he sees what this other miner he's going to fight, and he bites the finger off of him in a fight, and he's suspended. But then he goes and he decides to try his hand at gambling. Oh yes,
that's close.
Ooh, that is nice.
Yeah.
Well, it does have that kind of blade thing there, that hook that was kind of seen in the image I had.
Yeah,
that's cool.
This is the Saberforge Bane Mark II custom. It is as close to a canon Bane hilt.
I dropped another one in the chat. It's a commission that somebody did for Darth Bane. It looks pretty good too.
I do want to call out my good friend at the Royal Custom Armory who does custom powder coating. This is not how Saberforge sells this piece. So this green dragon coating on this Bane piece.
I like the color.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm currently saving up money and selling a kidney to get him to powder coat my second Sidious hilt in the dark theme.
But looking at this design, like it's like the moment someone saw Count Dooku build his lightsaber, you'd swear someone would be like, question. I'd have some concerns if I had an apprentice who did that. Okay. Of course it would be someone named Steve.
You know, I have to apologize to the Steves in the audience. I've known 3 Steves in my life, and all of them were genuinely decent guys and good friends. But I have a series of these where the last panel is always someone named Steve messing it up. One of my favorites is when we do Revan. I'll come back to it, but it's a series of amazing Revan cosplays. And the last one, the Damn It Steve, is someone doing a male version of Raven from Teen Titans.
Oh, jeez.
That's awful. All of these are memes that I created. If you don't mind, this is a cosplayer I met in Orlando 2019 or 2017. And I did legitimately say this to her as she was like all Sithy and making the face. And I said, give into your anger, let the hatred flow. And she just cracked up.
That's great.
And then I'll stop spamming you with my memes here. This is my last one, the bald and beautiful. That is a reference to this probably predates all of you.
One of the things I love about Legends novels for their covers is that they were so the art is really good, but they were so lazy when it came to lightsaber hilts because Xana's holding Darth Maul's hilt and Bane is holding Qui-Gon Jinn's, and that is not at all what their sabers were described as in the books. But if you even look at some of the canon novels, like one of them, Obi-Wan's holding the wrong lightsaber, like he's holding Anakin from episode 2, and it always drives me absolutely, like the autism in me just goes nuts when I see that because I'm like, it's not right. Why'd you do it that way? You had one job. Sorry, I got triggered. That image triggered me. Thanks, Brian. Sorry.
Okay, so this is the Disney Stitch as Palpatine figure, Brian.
Yeah.
And if you see, he is holding the correct saber.
Yeah. See, Stitch, right?
No, because I 3D printed this saber.
Oh, did you?
This is what he came with.
What is that?
It's Vader's.
Oh, Vader's?
It's clearly Vader's, yeah.
Anakin's, yeah. Well, it's like an Anakin Vader hybrid.
Yeah.
Well, it's red, so I don't think Anakin's was ever red. But,
yeah, but it's got that weird rabbit ear thing on the end of it, like his Nightfall saber.
Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't have questioned it. You're right.
I told you it's the autism, man. I can't help it.
Gotta love the neurospicy.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, this guy came with the correct saber. What are we doing here, people? All right, I'm done.
Crazy.
Wasn't that a Muppet character?
Yes, it was.
Hasbro's guilty of it too, because there's action figures of Obi-Wan from Episode 3, and he's like his lightsaber in his hand is molded in, but it's his lightsaber from 1 and 2, and it comes with one to put on his belt with no blade, but it's the correct hilt. Like it drives me bonkers. Sorry, I derailed. My bad.
No, you're good.
No,
You're good.
This train goes off the track so much it should be called Amtrak.
I have a question.
Wow.
I have a question about the closing of the third book that I think maybe Brian and I should talk about with you two on mute.
Oh,
I don't have access to the books at the moment, so I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm good.
You're good.
You're not going to ruin anything for me.
No. This is a spoiler for the entire trilogy. However, all right, folks.
Bane dies.
All right. Well, I guess we do know that. At the closing of the trilogy,
the dark side.
I don't think we're giving anything away if we say that Bane dies, correct? But at the closing of the book, it is established that Bane is going to attempt an essence transfer into Xana. They are basically fighting for the role of Sith Master, and whoever wins gets Darth Cognos as their apprentice. In this battle, it's a lovingly described battle. It's very well done. And at the end of it, the body of the male human is dead, and the body of the female human is alive. And my question to you, Brian, is do you have any doubt as to what spirit occupies that female human body?
So, I don't know, because actually there is no body left of Bane.
The question has been answered by Drew Karpyshyn. I was just wondering if you guys
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
But I think that the mythology can escape the creator, and you are clearly a scholar of this. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say before I share with you what he did.
I don't know, because there's no, like, Bane gets literally obliterated. Like,
I'll share some details though. As Xana approaches her new apprentice Darth Cognis, she manipulates her hand and it exhibits a twitch, which Bane had developed in the course of the last book and a half. Nerve damage as a result of the Orbalisk infestation. So her hand gives a little twitch, which has led to decades of debate as to whether or not Bane was occupying her and pretending to be her.
Well, that'd be a goofy weekend, wouldn't it? Start Friday in a man's body, and by Sunday you're in a girl's.
I know. Step one is Bane doing this.
Much younger girls, by the way. That's weird.
I mean, by all accounts, Xana is described as a beautiful woman. It's pretty clear. And by all accounts, Bane was described as a huge.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. You'd have to like learn your hygiene all over again. Like,
got to worry about your pH balance.
That went way further than I was trying to make it go.
Darth Cognis, you ever feel not so fresh?
You ever feel like a man trapped in a woman's body?
All right, before we go too far down that road. So
it's not a summer's eve.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Brian?
No, now that you bring up the hand twitch thing, that's very interesting. And it kind of makes me, it can make you want, because if he figured it out, because obviously Palpatine figured it out too, but if he figured it out, then like how far did he go before he finally couldn't do it again and another Sith actually took over? You know what I mean, it's interesting to think about.
Yeah,
that would.
Because he happened after Revan, right? Revan was first. Because Revan was like the Old Republic, and that was like 4,000 years. This was 1,000.
Because he gets a lot of his training from Revan.
Yes,
I make fun of people who I call them Star Wars Lutherans who are like, well, that's not canon to me. I don't believe in that canon, but I respect the canon and I know we have to appreciate it. But I've never been a fan of video game characters being introduced to me. Yeah,
I believe as far as like headcanon and stuff goes, I'm okay with like believing something is headcanon until it's not. Like until there's like a definitive answer of saying, oh, this is like the Darth Jar Jar thing. Everybody's headcanon is that Jar Jar Binks was a Sith Lord, and there's no proof of it either way, honestly. So I'm like, if you want to believe it, believe it.
And we can get into a whole other argument
and definitively say, no, Jar Jar was never a Sith Lord, then that should be the headcanon. Whatever Lego says, that's cool. You can do it in Lego, which I know people like had a lot of fun with that. But
I've gotten into so many. Oh, sorry. I've gotten into so many arguments with people online who will have the comment of, "That's not real Star Wars," or "That's so Disney canon isn't real canon." And my thing is like, my argument is always, you don't own the IP. You don't get to decide what is canon or what is not canon. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it is not. If it has Star Wars in the name and it was from Lucasfilm, it is canon.
Evidence that I support headcanon. This is a movie poster which is hanging in my collection.
Look, that's great.
I need to send this to my brother because one of his favorite movies is March of the Penguins.
That's funny. It's like okay, so I don't know if this would be a good example since we're doing posters.
I'll wait till Brian looks up.
Poster for Rise of Skywalker came out, and it was like Palpatine, and then you saw like the silhouette of the Death Star, like debris, and they were fighting on. That image of Palpatine they used was actually an image from a hot toy from Sideshow.
I remember that.
That was an actual. And then they come to find out afterwards it was a stock photo from Sideshow, and so it wasn't even Ian McDermott as the Emperor; it was a toy. Yeah,
I need you to notice my collectible figure here, Brian.
Very nice.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Now, just on a side note, why does the Palpatine Emperor Penguin kind of look like Rico from the Penguins of Madagascar?
Well, I'm going to admit, those who can't tell immediately, this is an AI generated image, and I have a paid account with ChatGPT that I've been using for a year and a half, so it knows me pretty well. So I'm cataloging my my inventory, and this came up. This is my custom Galactic Emperor Penguin, and a section of my inventory is what film source is the figure from, and I told ChatGPT to say that it is from a movie I made up called Imperial March of the Penguins, and ChatGPT said, "Would you like to see what I can do about making a movie poster for this movie?" And I said, "Yes." And this is the first draft.
That's a pretty solid draft.
Yes.
I'm done. You're all good. He spelled all the words right. It's great. This is what happens when you name your AI agent 114D, by the way. So anyway,
Funny.
the official word from Drew Karpyshyn is that he intended to add some ambiguity in it, but in his mind, his intent is that Bane failed the transfer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And the question was, well, why would he fake it? Who's benefited? Like, why would he lie and say he was Xana?
Mhm.
Because if Bane effected the transfer, the only person who knew it was even at stake is watching. And Bane would then say, "I did it, it's me," proving how powerful he is, and
Right.
leading to fear and respect from his apprentice, as opposed to why would he possibly, the only benefit that he would have is for Darth Cognus to think that Darth Bane is less powerful than he is, which is kind of out of character for Bane as we have come to know him at that point.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting philosophical debate, which is why I didn't want to lead with what Karpyshyn said. Among those, something else I dislike. George Lucas and I disagree about the motivations of Palpatine at the time he reveals himself to Anakin Skywalker, and I think that George Lucas just doesn't get his own writing, and that's why I would get kicked out of any autograph session. Yeah, actually, could you autograph it? Could you sign it, a young George Lucas? I'm not really a fan of your later work. Okay, I'll go. And could you make it out to "Congratulations, lucky winner"? No, you're not going to do that. Okay. He's notoriously prickly about people selling his autograph. Anyway, so I feel that Darth Bane is a pivotal text. I'm disappointed, honestly, that I didn't already know that you guys hadn't read this book, because I would have sent you copies. It's essential reading. Any student of the dark side absolutely must read these books. It leads into literally every canonical Sith Lord that we know. In the time period following Bane's life, references him at least once. Every single Sith that we see in canon, in the books, in the comic books, at some point or another, they reference having seen Bane's holocron. Bane made so many holocrons. Everybody's got one. They were given out in Cracker Jack boxes.
And what's interesting is, these books came out, decades ago. But at the same time, if Disney were to come out and say, "Oh, we're just going to make that trilogy canon as it is," you wouldn't have to rewrite anything. You could make it canon as is.
Yeah.
Right in with everything.
Right into it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Before they do that, I'm going to ask they do that to the novel Darth Plagueis, but I'd support either one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Do we feel that the installation of the rule of two was A, effective, or B, adhered to? Because I did make reference to, I sort of jokingly made reference to Bane and Xana both violating it as soon as it was created, but it did take a little while. As soon as, meaning, an hour later while I was still reading the book, but that was several years later within continuity.
I think the rule, it's funny because you go back and you look at Palpatine's speech from Revenge of the Sith, where he's talking to Anakin during that whole operatic thing, and he's sitting there talking about how dogmatic the Jedi are. And it's like, are you kidding me? You come from a lineage of Sith Lords who, for the last 1,000 years, have been dogmatically applying the rule of two.
Yeah.
And it's not, and keep in mind, this is also a Legends storyline, but it's not until we get to the Dark Horse series, Star Wars Legacy, which takes place like 150 years after the events of the Battle of Yavin, we get Darth Krayt, who is a former Jedi from the Clone Wars, who reestablishes what was called the One Sith, or the Rule of One. and he starts building up, and you start to see the infighting, you start to see the betrayals and the backstabbing and all that, and it does happen, but the betrayals and the backstabbing happen regardless of which rule is in place.
Yeah,
because the whole point of rule of 2 is that at some point, in order to succeed, their master, the apprentice, must kill the master.
and if you look at the way it's set up, the rule of 2 is set up. It's almost set up that there's going to be, yes, I like that one.
Serve the dragon. Who's your master?
Darth Great.
There we
That's
go.
great. Anyway, that
And
you're going to have once you have the apprentice is going to want to overthrow the master. Well, the apprentice is going to need to have a backup apprentice, so when he takes over, he can have an apprentice, and the master is going to also probably need a backup apprentice in case he kills his apprentice, and those apprentices are going to need an apprentice. Yeah. I understand the idea of it that with each apprentice overthrowing the master, the dark side gets more and more powerful, I understand the idea of
the apprentices who die contribute to that same cause.
Yeah.
But you mentioned following it dogmatically. I don't know of one Sith in Legends canon who didn't violate it. We see that Palpatine violated it. We see that Dooku. We see that Tyrannus violated it. We see that Plagueis violated it. Sorry, not Plagueis. We do see that Tenebrous violated it. Garrett, if you could share that with me.
Yes, I can.
Vader tried to violate it.
Now, this is if you play Force Unleashed. Action figures granted. Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I have a theory about that.
And so even in Return of the
Jedi, Darth Venemus is Tenebris's other apprentice aside from Plagueis. And sorry about the action figures. There's not a lot of art of Darth Venemus out there. And I gotta say, I feel like they made this joke all the time because Tenebris and Venemus are both canonically Bith.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No, because I was going to say Maul, but Maul had oppress, but was oppress really a?
Yeah, he had Savage oppress, and even
was oppress really an apprentice at that point? Would he would consider? But at that point, did he consider himself? Maul consider himself still Sith.
No, he lost the Darth title. That's why they just called him Maul.
He was certainly no longer the Sith apprentice of the active Sith master at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, if that's the case, then why did Palpatine take it so personally and go after both Maul and Oppress?
Oh, it's the best lightsaber duel in the whole series.
I know.
Yeah.
When Sidious tucks those sabers under his arm and jumps backwards to kill Oppress. Oh, boy, that's great. Whew.
But I mean,
better than Anakin versus Kenobi to me.
The rule of 2, like the whole thing begs to be broken because there's at no point can there actually be 2. I mean, it's like eating one Lay's potato chip. You can't do it.
I feel like a lot of the rules of the Sith Order are like, don't ever do this. Like I often told my sailors in the Navy.
They're not really rules so much as they are guidelines. Got it.
The ultimate rule is do not get caught doing this. And second to that is only do not let anyone know I knew you were doing it in the first place. And those are the 2 main rules that most organizations live by, I think. And I feel like the Sith Order, our whole thing is we make our own rules. So who's going to be like, oh, you're not being evil enough? Like, and for exactly what you brought up, Mark, it's we're rejecting the dogma, the strict dogma of the Jedi Order by replacing it with our own. No, I don't think any legitimate philosophical construct can be based on taking one philosophical construct and saying, nuh-uh. I don't think that's fair. You got to make up your own stuff, and I think that's what Bane was doing. His objection to the Sith Order as he came up in it was, you guys are just Jedi but black robes. Like, this is the same exact thing except instead of and let's let's find something different to do, guys. And he sure did.
Well,
Yeah.
look at how much infighting there even was, and they're not Sith, but in the Inquisitors. In
Yeah.
canon,
Oh boy, yeah.
how much they were backstabbing each other left.
Yeah.
and
I'm
right.
reading Rise of the Red Blade, or listening to Rise of the Red Blade right now, Miller. You've obviously read that.
And the whole like epilogue of that book is in the Vader comics. Like it's a whole
Yep.
scene in the Vader comics, and so
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun to read that one. That one's pretty.
I have the entire run of every Vader comic and every Afra comic, and I was lucky enough in my previous podcast to interview Charles Soule.
Nice.
I was a total fanboy. You've completely recontextualized the villain back where he was in the original trilogy after seeing the Callow Youth in Clone Wars. It was pretty funny.
When I was with Star Wars Newsnet, we interviewed Kevin Scott, and I got to say to his face that I did not like Jax on the Rabbit.
You got to interview Kevin Scott?
We interviewed Kevin Scott when I
jealous.
was with Newsnet. But yeah, I
You
told
didn't
him
like Jax on?
video call. I did that. I didn't like Jax on, and I was
I didn't. I didn't care for the Bucky O'Hara reference either. Like, I mean, again,
Yeah.
I see where you got it. And speaking of which, Brian, how recently have you read Dark Disciple?
I've read it 3 times. The last time I read it has been maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Do you
But I
recall
love
the Dweller in the Deep, the creature on Dathomir that they have to fight to get through their trials? There's an aquatic creature, and Kenobi fights it towards the end.
Yeah.
There's an aquatic creature on Dathomir they have to fight.
Big-
Read that scene again. That thing is 100%. It's a mantis shrimp.
Oh,
It's absolutely described exactly like a mantis shrimp. I feel like somebody just saw the oatmeal comic about a mantis shrimp, and they're like, you know what? Let's put this in the TV show.
fair enough.
Because, folks, Dark Disciple is written by Katie Lucas and who else?
It was based off of unaired episodes of Clone
Yeah.
Wars.
I wish they'd made it. It's such a good book. I've read that. I've also read that book several times. I have the hardback and the audiobook, and I have cried reading that book. Now, admittedly, it was on airplane to get a little more emotional up there, but
They
I
did
was
show
sure it was
the
just
end
spoken
scene,
there or something,
like
but I couldn't-
Asajj's funeral-ish thing.
Yeah.
in Tales of the Underworld, but
Yeah.
which I thought.
I met a woman at Celebration 19 who was cosplaying as Asajj in that book, and it was a really good take on it.
Mm.
Unbelievable.
So, let's see. Well, sorry. No, it's fine. It's fine.
One thing that I do want to touch on, one thing that we see Bane talk about with Xana, and he actually elaborates this. He's a big gruff dude, but we see a lot of dialogue from him, and he talks about how I forget exactly how he puts it, but his words to the effect of the Sith are cloaks or our armor rather than metal, and like we're no longer fighting on the battlefield, we're fighting from the shadows. And it took 1,000 years, but it worked. Say what you will, they got away with it. Now it took Plagueis level setup and Palpatine level execution, which you don't get but once every 1,000 years. But that's what it took. I do think the Darth Crate rule of one is interesting because, like, in the Darth Plagueis novel, Palpatine, as he's killing Plagueis, is basically lecturing him for giving up on the rule of two. Palpatine is like, you thought that you'd be excused from the rule of two, like, because Plagueis was like, we don't need it anymore. Like, we just be co-leaders. Like, they'll elect you chancellor, and then you can name me co-chancellor, and then we'll all be happy. And meanwhile, Palpatine's like, oh yes, we'll do that. Have another drink. So yeah, it's interesting to see that in action. But to hear Bane explain to Xana that this is how we're going to be doing this. Because the Sith fought the Jedi on the battlefield for generations, and neither side triumphed. And he said, now, the Jedi think we're dead. They're not fighting anymore, but we are. And that's how we're going to win. And he was right. I don't know if we won on the time frame he was planning, but
what do you think of the as far now? Like I said, I've only read the first book, but how the Jedi are portrayed in the Darth Bane novel, at least the first one, what I've read,
they are portrayed by someone who does not like the Jedi.
Yeah, well, and like I love the I can't think who the original the guy who the Jedi master who started the Army of Light,
General Lion-O, I call him. I forget his name yet.
But there's a couple of times where you see him get angry, like he uses, and they even say like, "Hey, you're skirting towards the dark side. You're very but you get a sense of just a war-weary soldier who's been fighting for so long that he doesn't know anything else. He didn't even say that he's been, some of these soldiers have been, Hoth. He's been fighting for so long that most people don't even know why they're fighting anymore. They don't understand. It's just, you're fighting because you're fighting. It's because, okay, that's the bad guy and you fight them.
Right. I gotta say again, the names in some of these books, like I forgot that Farfalla's first name was Valentine. Come on. Yeah. And the Lord of the Sith, the Brother of the Dark is led by Sith Skyr Khan. You're one letter away from Shere Khan.
Yes.
And
sounds like a really cool cat.
Yeah.
You know what? And names
Easy,
in novels,
Tiger.
that's one of the biggest problems I had with the Alphabet Squadron trilogy. I tried reading those, and I love Alexander Freed and everything he writes, but I hated the Alphabet Squadron novels, and it was mainly because of he was just coming up with non-Star Warsy names, and they were like 7-syllable names, and there was no shortened version of it. So every single time it sent the name, it was the 7 syllables, and I was like, get me out of it.
I did like how they explained how Bane came up with his Sith name of Bane. It was from his father. Yeah. His father would beat him, and the thing he'd always say is, "You are the bane of my existence. You're the reason why I'm on here. You're the bane of my existence." So he took that anger and that fear.
And I did.
And I like how they talk about that. How he talks about him being afraid of his, growing up being afraid of his dad, but using that fear, and even the battlefield, and turning it into anger, and and just like Yoda said, fear leads to anger, and Bane used that fear to fuel himself, and then using the fear of others. Like that scene you mentioned, that scene in the desert where he slaughters, like that. When I got to that scene where he's in the desert and he's dying because he's been poisoned, and he comes that family of junkers basically comes across him, and he slaughters the entire family while the dad is watching, and using the anguish and the fear and the sorrow of his dad to give himself power so he can. I'm just like,
This brings up an important point I wanted to make about Bane. Bane is a patricide. He kills his father.
Yeah.
He goes into the dark side of the Force in his sleep, but I think he still gets the credit. There are 3 patricides in Star Wars if you combine Legends and EU. One of them is Bane, one of them is Emperor Vitiate, one of them is Kylo Ren. Nobody else Palpatine. So 4. Nobody else is stated to have killed their father outright. And I think that's an interesting take, because as Garrett will agree, murdering one's father has been an unforgivable sin since the Greeks were telling tragedies through big conical mouths in their masks.
Yeah. So it goes back even further. Like if you are to look at the story of the prodigal son, when the prodigal son tells his father, "Give me my inheritance," this essentially translates culturally to, "I wish you were dead."
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really pleased. I thought it boded well when Kylo killed his father. I was like, well, okay, so we've got Bane, Vitiate, Palpatine, now the new guy. I think it's looking pretty good. Emperor Kylo, I'm on board now.
Did he really do that, or did Han trigger the lightsaber himself?
Man, that's still in the air. I have seen people have arguments both ways, and I'm like, man, I don't know which way that. I don't know. Han looks pretty surprised.
Uh-oh. He pulled out a book.
Dun, 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 dun,
The written word. I can do that too. Hold on.
Mine's in the other room.
Yeah, I don't have a book. I just have a lunchbox.
I have a book.
I love it.
This is mine.
Nice.
Oh, he actually has a book. That is his.
Dude, I write fantasy.
Okay, hang on.
If you're a avid reader, Miller,
I am.
get my books. You'll like them.
It is very clearly called out in this novel, but I'm not going to guess. I'm going to read it.
I don't remember if what it was in. I do. The thing I do remember about the Rise of Skywalker novel was
that's the wrong book.
The entire scene where everybody shows up at the end was done so much better in the novel than it was in the movie.
Oh yeah,
it was because you actually got the Easter eggs of
because in the novel,
like
in the novelization they have a little bit more, a little bit better pacing and a little bit more time to really flesh out what's being seen, what's being heard, and what's being felt.
Yes. Hey, I know this guy. Garrett K. Jones sounds kind of cool.
I mean, a little bit.
Wonder if he's a Star Wars fan.
I don't know. I mean, he's got that goofy, green AT-AT shirt on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
At least you call it the right thing. At least you pronounce it correctly.
Oh, sorry.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. You. Don't you even dare. That's another hill I'll die on.
Well, it's letters. I mean, if it was like an uppercase and a lowercase t,
yeah,
uppercase, that would be AT-AT. This is not. This is AT-AT. Because it's military.
Yes.
Military loves their letters.
What do you call the ATST? The
Chicken Walker.
The ATST.
Scout Walker.
Actually, when I was a kid and I started learning my abbreviations,
okay.
I asked my dad, I said, Dad, what's at street? He had no idea what I was referring to until I pointed at the box for the ATST.
Very well.
He's like, if you stop asking me the question, I'll buy it for you.
Our young man is in Alan Dean Foster's telling of Star Wars: The Force Awakens in the paperback version of it on page 282. Halfway down the page, it reads, "For an instant that seemed to extend into forever, nothing happened. Smiling, Han reached for the weapon. Then, as the light from outside was fully blocked by the flow of descending, accumulating dark energy, Ren ignited the lightsaber, and the fiery red beam lanced outward to pierce Han's chest from front to back."
There it is.
Okay.
Now, if we read the novels,
good enough for me. I read that one, but I haven't read that novel since 2016.
I have had it argued to me condescendingly and at some volume that the novels are not canon. At which point the conversation is over. Like, okay.
Hang on. Yes and no. Yes and no. Okay, so they are until they're not, is the way I look at it. So, for example, all right, and I've got a couple things to back this up. The one you have in your hand right there, the Force Awakens. When that novelization came out, there was no Episode 8 yet. There was no Rogue One yet. That was the novelization. There's a scene in that novel at the end where Poe and Rey meet for the first time. And it's Rey coming up, or Poe coming up saying, "I'm Poe," and she's like, "I'm Rey," and he's like, "I know." And that's before she leaves to go find Skywalker. That was never in the movie, but it was in that novel. That scene is in The Last Jedi, the movie, which to me retcons it in that novel. So novels, yes and no, they are and they're not. But that reason alone is why I go ahead and put the prequel novelizations on my canon shelf, because there's stuff in the prequel novelizations that are not in the movies that they said were never canon because they weren't. But if you're going to apply that logic to your own books, you have to apply it to the other books too. And the other thing is they just did that release of—
who is this guy? He's my best friend now.
They just did that re-release of Revenge of the Sith, that novelization with the annotations. I just got it in the mail the other day, and I got my
Stover's such a great writer. I've never read anything else by him. I love that book.
But if you open the front cover of that book, it doesn't have the Legends timeline. It has the canon timeline for novels. And so to me, that makes that book and everything in it canon.
So the question that I ask anyone who would disagree as to whether or not Ren killed Han in that scene is, first off, within universe, what benefit? Why would Han do that?
Yeah,
to what end?
Get out of a film contract.
Yeah, well, that's to
get in
universe. That's canon.
He wanted to
take that to the bank.
Well, granted, Han was not very good at his job, so I could see this would be a good way out of it. But the fact remains,
Conja Club.
On the whole, though,
can't kill me if I'm already dead, suckers.
on the whole, though, if we posit that Han committed suicide, that what you're saying then is that this novel disagrees with the movie on such a major plot point as who killed Han Solo.
Yeah.
And that plot point is never resolved. If Han Solo committed suicide for some moral benefit to Kylo Ren, I feel like it would have come up at some point in the subsequent films.
Mm-hmm.
And it is never mentioned once. That only exists in headcanon.
And it hasn't been retconned. So in my opinion,
that simply did not happen.
Yeah.
Ren killed Han Solo. There's no, and I know where it comes from. I respect you if you think that way. What you are saying is Han Solo is so awesome. The only thing that could kill him is Han Solo. And as a Palpatine fan, I understand that motivation because canonically, the only thing that can kill Palpatine is Palpatine. The only thing that he dies of ever is his own lightning. So I get that, but you can't have it for Han.
Hold on. It is entirely possible that it got ignored in the writing of the subsequent films because A, you have Rian Johnson, who wrote The Last Jedi, who intentionally was deconstructing Star Wars and did not care about what happened before and has gone on record to say this. And then you have the pivot from that, which was co-written by, or at least the story was developed by J.J. Abrams, who has a tendency of going all flash, no substance, and will leave out important plot points that should be in there.
And the fact he was doing
we just destroy Vulcan.
I would love to destroy both of them.
Vulcan.
Oh,
that's
that too.
It's his solution to everything.
Here's the way I look at it with the sequel films. I don't call them a sequel trilogy. Mark knows this. I don't call them a sequel trilogy. I don't see that as 3 cohesive films. The only 2 that are cohesive, if 2 at all, are 7 and 8. 9 was completely separate from those 2. To me, that's standalone movies. That is 3 standalone Star Wars movies, in my opinion, that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, I agree.
And as a standalone Star Wars movie, I like 8. I like Last Jedi. I really love the novelization for it because the novel talks about like Luke's third lesson with Rey. Like there's a lot of stuff there that was never in the movie, and the novelization was great. But as a trilogy, that's not a trilogy. That's just 3 separate Star Wars movies. And 9, the whole first half of that was damage control because they thought they screwed up 8 so badly. I have this theory that they came to J.J. Abrams and was like, look, no matter what we do, we're going to lose. So let's just wrap this trilogy up as fast as you can. It doesn't have to be great. Tie a ribbon on it. Let's get it in theaters. And then let's take a break for a while and reset and figure out what we're going to do. And that's where we're at. I think
you're definitely right.
Just to get
because Colin Trevorrow got screwed over on that one.
Yeah. Well, we're past our hour, so
too much. Sorry, we had to keep going this one. Thank you guys. Really great job.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Before we get started, before we wrap things up, we have a huge announcement to make. If you're listening to this on audio, you'll hear the little bumper at the beginning. You won't see it on the YouTube channel yet, but we are officially back with the Red 5 Network. This does not change anything to do with our affiliation of Feast of Fandoms. Feast of Fandoms is still the exclusive home for War of the Stars on YouTube. Check us out there. But this is just a little extra boost, some more eyes on the product, as you might want to say. And we liked our time with Red 5 in the past, and they're a great bunch of guys. Some great podcasts on there. And it's just great to be back. We'll get more information as we get it. But yeah, we're back with Red 5. So we'll get more info on that as it comes about. Anyway, as we're wrapping things up, let's start with the guest, Mr. Miller. Why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you?
Kansas. You guys can find me on YouTube at the Star Wars Canon Podcast, where I'm actually We've taken a little bit of a hiatus for a little while just because life gets in the way. I've got 2 teens I adopted, and then I've got my son, and it's just been absolutely crazy. So we're going to get the show going again. My co-host, Yusuf Wali, is from Cairo, Egypt. He's going through the Star Wars canon timeline for the first time. And so this is something I've read, everything so far, but I'm getting his perspective on a lot of these books. We're in the High Republic right now, phase 2, because it's kind of the prequel High Republic stuff.
Sorry, Bill, where do we find you? I'm trying to follow you now here. Star Wars Canon has given me way too many results.
Star Wars Canon Podcast. You guys can find our Facebook page as well, all the socials. Every episode we do like a villain bracket that Yusuf put together. We're putting villains up against each other, not for who would win in a fight, but who's cooler.
I'll go one further. Yoda knew about it.
There he is.
I hear myself in the background. That's kind of wild.
I'm following you right now in real time.
Now the voices in my head are really starting to sound like me. We get some viewer. We get some viewer interaction. You guys vote on the villain bracket and everything. So go check that out. We're going to be coming back with a vengeance. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Getting on the mic is kind of my stress reliever for my life. So I can't wait to get back on and start producing videos again.
1 2 1 2 on the mic.
All right. Other Brian, Mr. Karasik, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you at?
You can find me at the Sith Library and Archives on Facebook. I post as Darth Carosis there. You can also have just recently joined, happy to announce, I've just recently joined the team at the Galactic Empire Facebook page. There is considerable overlap of our interests there, so you can find me there. I post as Lieutenant Commander Merryweather, the Public Affairs Officer of the Imperial Star Destroyer Crotellus, which is an in-joke that only I will get, and that's fine. Merryweather is the name of my D&D character who was a jester in 8th grade. I like to base all of my personas on 8th grade. Like Darth Carosis was my Sith character in the West End role-playing game, and now you all know what kind of a nerd I was. So come see me at the Sith Library and Archives, Darth Carosis there, or Lieutenant Commander Merryweather over at the Galactic Empire. Hail the Empire. Greetings, citizen.
Garrett, what about you?
Well, I'm a different breed of nerd. I'm a writer by trade, and so if you want to connect with me, you guys can do so on Instagram and X at GKJ_publishing, where I talk about my books. I've got 5 out in my fantasy series, The Archives of Isink Ran. I'm working on book 6. It's going through edits right now. And then I just celebrated a little over a year ago the 1 year of publication for my short story collection, which is called Midnight Playground. I also talk about my show on YouTube the right way. If you just go to YouTube and search for GKJ Publishing, you'll find it there. We talk book recs, author interviews, and coming up throughout the entire month of April, a interview marathon that I do called Author Awareness April.
Nice. As for us right here at War of the Stars, if you want to get a hold of us, our email is warthestars1@gmail.com. We are on all socials at War of the Stars 77. Check us out there. If you want to support the show, Ko-fi.com/War of the Stars, or go to spreadshirt.com/war-of-the-stars-. And again, I say there's got to be a Dash Rendar joke in there somewhere.
It's a nice.
Yeah, that's
at the end, just dash Rendar. Yeah.
Yes.
Throw it in there. That's awesome.
As Garrett mentioned, we are a proud member of Feast of Fandoms. Check out all the shows of Feast of Fandoms. They're right down there. If you're watching us on YouTube, a bunch of fun shows. Literally a Feast of Fandoms for everything you can imagine. And as I mentioned earlier, we are also now a part of the Red 5 network. And I don't have a list of all the Red 5 shows right now, but there's a lot of them too. A lot of good overlap there. So enjoy that. And Garrett, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about galactic luck. All those moments throughout the canon where people just find themselves getting lucky, and we're keeping it as a non-dirty joke.
Keep it clean.
Yes.
Yeah, we are definitely keeping it clean. So all those moments where things just kind of happen because of plot armor, the screenwriter wanting that to happen for the character, or what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was lucky. The red cars. Let's go.
So, with that being said, as always, remember, this is not just my Star Wars. This is not just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next time, may the Force be with you.